The Atlanta Braves are set to take on Michael Soroka and the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight in Chase Field. Here is your 10-minute scouting report for tonight's game. Hey, y'all, this is your Braves Today Scouting Report, a production of the Believe Podcast Network and presented to you by FanDuel. I'm Lindsey Crosby, and in the next 10 to 12 minutes, we're breaking down everything you need to know before first pitch. Tonight, it's the Braves and the Diamondbacks, so let's get into it. Both teams have already put out their lineups. There's no need to read through the Braves lineup because it is literally the exact same lineup the Braves always are running out there against right-handed pitching. The only time they've varied from this was the one time they let Jorge Mateo have a start. It was on a Sunday. They have not done that again. So this is exactly what we expected. Acuna, Baldwin, Olsen, Riley, Yastrzemski, Albies, Harris, Smith, Dubon. This is what you're going to get probably until Sean Murphy is back. The flip side, Arizona did make some changes to their lineup. Corbin Carroll moves from batting second to batting leadoff, bumping Ketel Marte down to the number 2 hole. That's also something where Carroll, a lefty, Marte, a switch hitter. He is now back-to-back with another switch hitter, and Geraldo Perdomo, the shortstop, batting third. Catcher Gabriel Moreno is a right-hander batting fourth. DH today, making his 2026 debut, is Adrian Del Castillo. He's a catcher, lefty-hitting catcher, who was activated off the IL. He got the roster spot of Jordan Lawler, who is going to be out after that hit by pitch from Osvaldo Bido. He's going to be out, I think, 6 to 8 weeks. Nolan Arenado moves to 6th. He's a right-handed hitter. Back-to-back with him is another right-handed hitter and first baseman Jose Fernandez. He's not a true first baseman. He's a utility infielder. He's played some third. He's played some second. He's played some shortstop. He's played some first in his career. He bats 7th. They're doing that because Carlos Santana has 1 hit and a 207 OPS in 23 plate appearances this year. So Carlos Santana may have finally gotten caught by Father Time. He is out of the lineup today. Alek Thomas, the center fielder, batting 7th. Batting 8th. He's a lefty. I feel like that's one of the lower spots he's been in the order. And left fielder Jorge Barosa, a switch hitter, batting 9th. Not a lot of these guys have a lot of experience off of Bryce Elder. Nolan Arenado's seen him the most. It's 11 at-bats. He's hitting 182. Some of the notables, though. Corbin Carroll's 2 for 5. Geraldo Perdomo's 2 for 3. Alek Thomas is 2 for 4. Knock on wood, nobody on this Arizona roster has ever taken Bryce Elder deep. So we'll see what happens there. Speaking of Bryce Elder, made the graphic from the Braves. Remember, the thing we're going to watch for with Bryce Elder is he added a cutter last time out, but he threw it exclusively to lefties, despite the fact that he's been much worse against right-handed pitching than left-handed pitching. So we'll absolutely, keep watching to see what he does there. It's a big locations thing for him. That's kind of what has to happen. When you look at the opposing starter, good old Michael Soroka, he is not the Michael Soroka that we used to call Mike, that was a sinker slider guy, that was a big, heavy sinker guy in Atlanta. He is a 4-pitch pitcher, where he was last year. He's added a pitch, which I'll get to in a second. Last year, 45% usage of a 4-seamer, 35% usage of a slurve, 10% usage of a changeup, and 10% usage of a sinker. What he's doing a little bit differently, he has also added a cutter this year. Soroka mostly used it against right-handers the last time out. And last time out, he struck out 10. He got 9 whiffs on that slurve, a bunch of called strikes on it too. He got 10 called strikes on the slurve and 7 called strikes on the 4-seam fastball. So the Braves are going to need to be more willing to fire off swings in the zone. The way he attacks hitters here, and I'll kind of point out where the cutter goes in when appropriate. Versus right-handers, he is pretty balanced early. Like he is willing to throw. It's still primarily a four-seam fastball, but he's willing to throw just about everything in every situation early in the at bat. He'll use the sinker, he'll use the slurve, he'll do all of that stuff. As you continue in the at bat, he's trying to stay as balanced as possible. But when as long as he's not terribly behind in the count, right? 2-0, 2-1, 3-0, that kind of stuff. He's trying to get you to swing through a slurve. That's the goal here, right? So for a right-handed hitter, what you need to know is he is going to be rather balanced when he's ahead. He's still willing to throw plenty of four-seamers, even 1-2. Like, yeah, it's 50% slurve. It's also 40% four-seamer, right? So he's willing to do some of that. And then when he's behind, like a lot of pitchers, he's fastball heavy, but he maintains that even on 3-2. He's throwing fastballs. He's prioritizing a strike in the zone. For a lefty, it's a little bit of a different story here. He likes fastballs early before he goes to something that's a little bit slower. So versus lefties, you're going to get a four-seam on the first pitch of the at-bat. You're probably going to get, like whether you go 1-0 or 0-1, you're still likely to see a four-seam fastball. Now, it's more likely you get a changeup there than it was on 0-1 than it was on 1-0. But either way, he is throwing a lot of fastballs early until he gets you to, if he gets you to an early 2 strikes, that is when he's going to throw you the slurve. He's going to throw you the changeup. He's going to go to something slow. But again, if he gets behind 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, whatever it is, he's going back to that power. He's going back to the fastball. So Braves hitters tonight, this feels like just be mindful of pitches in the zone. Find a specific part of the zone you feel comfortable and look there. I will say on the cutter, he threw it once last week to righties on an 0-0, but the rest of them were in the middle of the at-bat. 1-1 and 2-0 to righties, 0-1 to lefties. So you could maybe see it to open an at-bat, but it's likely going to be the second or third pitch of the at-bat versus being the first pitch of the at-bat. So just kind of interesting there. Let's look at the bullpens real quick. Interesting stuff here on the bullpen. Aaron Bummer, Joel Payamps for the Braves are probably the first men out of the pen tonight, unless it's a super high leverage situation. They both had 3 days off. You did use all 3 leverage arms last night in Dylan Lee, Robert Suarez, Raisel Iglesias. I imagine, if possible, the Braves probably want to try to stay away from Iglesias and Lee because they've thrown 33 and 26 pitches in the last 3 days, respectively. Robert Suarez can always be your closer tonight if you need it. They're probably also not worried to go back to Tyler Kinley. And they will throw Iglesias and Lee if they need to secure a win. Like I think we've seen, they're going to prioritize winning the game that they're in. But if everything goes well, I could see both those guys getting the night off. Osvaldo Bido is clearly down. 42 pitches on Thursday. He was the long man. I imagine we'll find out probably between now and game time who the starter is for Sunday. And so if it's Jose Suarez starting, you likely have Martin Perez available as the long man out of the pen. If it's Martin Perez starting, you have Jose Suarez out of the pen. So probably the only guy who is for sure down is Osvaldo Bido. But again, I'm sure they wouldn't mind holding off on Iglesias and Dylan Lee. The Arizona bullpen's actually in a better spot, partially because they made a roster move, right? They sent Joe Ross down before yesterday's game. He was the long man that ate a lot of Thursday night's game. But most of the pen was off last night. Juan Murillo only threw 6 innings. Paul Sewald clearly lost the game. He had six pitches for Murillo. Sewald lost the game for them, 16 pitches last night, and then they used Ryan Thompson for exactly 2 to clean something up. I imagine Hoffman is probably down. It's not a terrible pitch count in the last 3 days of 23 pitches, but in the last 5, he's thrown 55 pitches. So I imagine they want to stay away from him if possible. Kevin Ginkel is probably available, though, just like everybody else. Taylor Clark, Loizaga, Thompson, everybody else would be. I do wonder if they would use Sewald again tonight, right? He blew the save. He got, shelled by Atlanta. He's historically been bad against the Braves. Do they want him to get back on the horse and get another outing? Or do they want to give him a day off because he threw 16 mostly ineffective pitches? Do they want, is that why they pulled him after he got the second out? It was like the fourth batter he faced. He got the second out. Did they pull him there for pitch count reasons so he was available tonight? I just don't know what Torey Lovullo's thinking, but I'm curious what they do there. Final thoughts about this one. I think it's going to come down to the starters. And specifically for Bryce Elder, he's going to need to find a way to keep Arizona's outfielders off of the barrel. They are all pretty speedy. And so you could easily see you get a ball in the gap, it's a double or a triple, especially if it's to open an inning, and that's where you're going to have trouble. For the Diamondbacks, I'm terrified of revenge games. This is not the first time Michael Soroka has faced the Braves since they traded him away. He made a start for Washington last year against Atlanta, and he threw 4 innings. I think it was 2 runs on 4 hits in May. But this is a better version of Michael Soroka than what the Nationals had last year. So is this a revenge game for Michael Soroka? He had 10 punchies and an immaculate inning last time out, so he's feeling good about where he is. Reminder, this is a national broadcast on Fox, but we do get Brandon Gaudin. He's doing the play-by-play tonight. He'll be paired with somebody else as an analyst, and we'll get our Braves Vision guys back tomorrow. That's your Braves Today scouting report. If you want the deeper analysis, the lineup breakdowns, and everything behind the numbers, make sure you're subscribed to Braves Today. Enjoy the game. We'll be back after it with the postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta and today's 3 things over at bravestoday.com.